If you're sitting at 86, 87, maybe even 88 miles per hour, and you've been there for a year, maybe two, you're throwing more, working harder, and showing up every single day. And that number just won't move. And the frustrating part is nobody can tell you why. Your coach says keep working. Your dad says you'll grow into it. The internet says fix your hip hinge, and none of it moves the needle. Here's what I'm going to tell you that nobody else will. That plateau isn't a mechanics problem. It isn't a throwing problem. It is a system failure. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where that system is leaking and what to do about it. Stay until the end because I'm going to show you the one question that will tell you immediately what part of your system is the problem. Most pitchers will spend months chasing the wrong answer. And the reason they stay stuck is because they're asking the wrong question entirely. Here's the belief that I hear constantly from pitchers stuck at that 85 to 88 range. If I just throw more, it'll come. More bullpens, more flat grounds, more long toss, more reps, more everything. And I understand why they think that. Because throwing does build arm strength. It does build seal. There is truth in the idea that you have to throw more to get better at throwing. But here is where it breaks down completely. If your body is already running on a deficit, if you're already accumulating fatigue faster than you're recovering from it, throwing more does not build you. It digs the hole deeper. You are not developing capacity. You are suppressing the capacity you already have. Think about that for a second. The velocity that you are looking for already exists inside your body, and you just cannot express it because your system is never fully fresh enough to show it. That is not a mechanics problem. That is not a throwing problem. That is a system problem. And there are 3 specific places where that system is leaking right now. Let's go through all 3. The first place your system is leaking is in the weight room. And I'd want to be specific here because it's not about whether you lift or you don't. It's about whether you're lifting and whether what you're doing is actually building the qualities that produce velocity. Most pitchers fall into one of 2 traps. The first trap is abandoning strength work during the season entirely. They think that rest equals recovery. They stop lifting, they stop building, and slowly, over weeks and months, they detune the horse they spent all offseason building. Strength is a neural quality. If intensity drops too low for too long, force production fades. And when force production fades, velocity fades with it. The second trap is the opposite. Pitchers who keep lifting with off-season volume during the season. Heavy weight, heavy reps, heavy effort sessions that leave them neurologically fried going into outings. They think that they are staying strong. What they are actually doing is staying exhausted. You cannot express peak velocity from the nervous system that never fully recovers between sessions. Both traps lead to the same place, chronic velocity suppression. Not a dramatic breakdown, just a quiet 2 to 3 mile an hour difference that they cannot seem to make up no matter how hard they try. The fix is a strength program built specifically around the demands of a pitcher. One that maintains force production during the season without accumulating the kind of fatigue that suppresses the nervous system and its output on the days that it matters the most. In season and out of season are completely different problems. They require completely different solutions. If you were treating them the same way, you are leaving velocity on the table every single week. And that brings me to the second leak. And this one is the one that most coaches never think about. I want you to think about the best pitcher that you know. The guy on your team who throws the hardest, recovers the fastest, and seems to always have something in the tank when it counts. Now I want you to think about his habits off the field. I'd be willing to bet he sleeps more than you, he eats more than you, he takes his body more seriously than you, and I'd be willing to bet you've never connected those 2 things. Here's the truth most pitchers in this range completely miss. The habits that happen away from the mound determine what you can express on it. Sleep, nutrition, recovery. These are not soft variables. These are performance variables. And when you shortcut them, you are directly suppressing your velocity, whether you realize it or not. Let's start with sleep, because this is one that I see pitchers dismiss the most. Sleep is where your nervous system recovers. It is where your muscles repair. It's when your body consolidates the adaptations from your training. If you are getting 6 hours when your body needs 9, you are not just tired. You are operating at a fraction of your actual output capacity. And no amount of intent training or mechanical work will overcome a nervous system that is never fully recharged. Then there's nutrition. And I'm not talking about clean eating or following a specific diet. I'm talking about basic fueling. A mild caloric deficit, even one you can't feel yet, suppresses glycogen availability, mood, intent, and fast twitch output before your body weight even changes. Your body starts rationing energy, and the first thing it cuts is the explosive high-intensity output that velocity requires. Inadequate protein compromises tissue recovery. Poor fat intake disrupts hormonal stability. Both of these are quietly eroding force expression over weeks. You do not feel it when it happens. You just notice you just can't seem to get your best stuff anymore. Here's the standard that I hold my athletes to. If you want to perform like an athlete, your habits have to match elite standards. Elite is not just what you do on the mound. Elite is how you sleep, how you eat, how you treat recovery as a non-negotiable part of the training process, not an afterthought you get to when everything else is done. If your habits are average, your output is going to be average. This is not a personal attack on you. That is physics. And here is the thing. Even if your strength program is dialed and your recovery is locked in, there is still a third leak that most coaches never look at. And it might be the most frustrating one of all. The third place your system is leaking is in your mechanics. And I want to be careful here because this is an area where most pitchers get the worst advice. Most coaches look at mechanics and try to fix what they see. The arm path looks off, so they work on the arm path. The stride looks short, so they work on stride length. The follow through looks wrong, so they work on the follow through. And sometimes those things matter. But the bigger question is, the one that almost nobody is talking about is this. Where is energy leaking before it gets to the ball? Velocity is not an arm quality. It is an organism level output. It is ground reaction force, the force that your body generates from the ground up, expressed through the kinetic chain and transferred into the baseball at release. Every link in that chain has to be working efficiently. Every inefficiency is a leak. Hip-shoulder separation breaks down early, energy leak. Front side opens up before front foot strike, energy leak. Front knee buckles instead of bracing, energy leak. The arm path gets too long and disconnected from the body, energy leak. Every one of these inefficiencies costs you velocity, not because your arm isn't fast enough, but because the energy never made it into your arm in the first place. This is why pitchers can sit in a weight room for 2 years, get significantly stronger, and still not gain velocity. The engine is built, but the transmission is still leaking. The force never makes it from the ground to the ball. And this is why the fix is never just one thing. You cannot patch one leak and expect the whole system to perform. You have to find every leak, address it systematically, and then train the full pattern under intent so that your body learns how to transfer force efficiently when it actually counts. Now, let me zoom out and show you why all three of these connect, because the way they stack on top of each other is exactly why the plateau feels so impossible to break. Here's what is actually happening when a pitcher sits at 85 to 88 for a year or two and cannot move the number. It is almost never one thing. It is three things stacking on top of each other and compounding quietly over time. The strength program is wrong, so the underlying force production is either fading or never fully recovering. The recovery habits are poor, so the nervous system is chronically suppressed and can never express peak output. The mechanics have energy leaks, so even the force that does get produced never fully transfers into the baseball. The result isn't a dramatic breakdown. There's no obvious injury, no obvious mechanical flaw, no obvious reason. Just a pitcher who is chronically sitting 2 to 3 miles per hour below his actual ceiling. Every single outing, every single bullpen, every single day. And the most frustrating part is that the velocity he is looking for already exists. It's already inside him. The capacity is there. The ceiling is higher than what he is expressing. He just cannot access it because the system has too many leaks to let it out. Think about that. You're not stuck because you have maxed out. You're stuck because your system between your effort and your output is broken. Fix the system, fix the strength program, lock in the recovery habits, close the mechanical leaks, and the velocity that has been sitting dormant inside you starts revealing itself. That is not a promise. That is mechanics. And that is exactly what a real development system is built to do. So here's where you are right now. You have heard the 3 leaks. You know what a system failure actually looks like. And if you have been honest with yourself through this video, you already know which one is costing you the most. I want you to leave with one question, not to send you somewhere, just to give you something to sit on before your next outing. When was the last time you felt completely fresh on a mound? Not good, not decent, completely fresh. Where your arm felt loose, your legs felt explosive, your intent was at a 10, and everything just came easy. Think about that honestly, because the answer tells you everything. If you cannot remember the last time that happened, your recovery system is the primary leak. Your arm has had no real window to rebuild in a long time. Start there. If you feel fresh, but the velocity is still not there, your strength program or your mechanics are the leak. The engine is rested, but it's either not built right or it is losing force before it gets to the ball. And if you've never felt that feeling at all, you have never had a real development system. You have had random work, and random work produces random results. That answer is not a diagnosis, it is a starting point. And what you do with it separates the pitchers who figure this out from the ones who stay stuck at the same number for another year. The pitchers who make real jumps are not the ones who trained harder. They are the ones who finally had a system that told them exactly where to look, and then built a plan around closing those specific leaks instead of guessing. That is exactly what we build inside the Power Pitcher Pathway. Not a generic program, not a course for you to just follow, hoping something sticks. A complete individualized system built around your specific leaks, strength, recovery, mechanics, with direct coaching and weekly feedback so that the work compounds instead of spinning in place. If you are a high school or college pitcher who is done trying to figure this out alone, the link is in the description to apply. The velocity is already there. Let's build the system that lets it out. And if you're not ready yet, watch this video next.